Episode 1. Here we go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I don't think so. I think you said that you were ready last time, but you weren't ready.
Well, it's weird, the idea that somebody might actually be listening to me.
But no one's listening to you right now, though.
Well, but that they will be listening to me, and that people actually did listen to the last podcast.
Yeah, if they did. If they, clicked on it, listened to the first 5 minutes, and, fuck this.
Which they might have done, and it was a little bit, we're new to this, so, well, I'm new to this. That's for sure.
Well, don't say it like I'm new to it. I'm not new to it. I'm not new to it, I've just listened to a lot of podcasts.
Right, whereas I haven't really listened to many podcasts at all.
You know you should.
I know I should, because then I could get a feel for what other people are doing.
Because, we tell certain people that you can't write unless you read.
I know.
And you can't make music unless you play an instrument or listen to music.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Okay.
You should find a couple podcasts that you could listen to, that you wouldn't mind listening to.
That sounds good.
That would just be the challenging part, is finding something for you.
Well, no, not really. I have lots of interests, but I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what I would listen to. I'll have to look and find one that I find interesting. Okay. I love humor, so a podcast that's funny.
There are comedy podcasts.
See, that would be perfect.
One of the most popular comedy podcasts out there is by Joe Rogan. Do you know who Joe Rogan is? If you saw him, you know who he is.
Isn't there another Rogan that's famous? Is that Seth Rogen? Is that any relation to Seth Rogen?
No, I don't think so. But Joe Rogan is the guy. I think he was the guy who hosted Fear Factor.
Oh, I never really
He's
watched
kind of a
that.
comedian.
Okay.
He has one of the most popular podcasts on the internet.
Oh.
But he has really famous people on every week. And it's like one of those things where he's not an A-list celebrity, or I would think even a B-list celebrity, more like a C to D-list celebrity. Mm-hmm. But because of that, he kind of has that pull to kind of have some people on there.
You can get some good guests on there.
One of the best ones I ever listened to was Dave Attell. Yeah, Dave Attell.
Oh, nice.
That guy from the...
Oh, I know who Dave Attell is. Dave Attell is hilarious.
Dave Attell is hilarious. But he had that show, that Insomnia.
Yeah.
Where he basically... And that was such a great show. Because, it was just so perfect. Because he went to the city, went to the bars. And then after that, he actually did go... you know what it was? It was almost... Because I don't know when that show was on, when Dirty Jobs started afterwards. Because there were some places that he went to that were where people started working at 3 or 4 in the morning. There was a couple places. There was one place we went to where it was a fish market. And that would have been comparable to when Mike Rowe would go to a Dirty Job. There was a couple places where he did that. There was a guy he followed around who was a crime scene cleanup. The guy had his own crime scene cleanup. So somebody committed suicide, or there was something that happened in a hotel room or a house somewhere. The city would hire him and his business to come in and clean it up.
I would think that would be kind of a rough business to be.
It was a rough business. He didn't hang out with them long.
Aside from the actual I don't know, business of cleaning up, which I don't really particularly care for cleaning to begin with, but to be cleaning up blood and whatever from somebody who was injured or possibly murdered or whatever the circumstances might be, that would be rough. I would think that would be kind of a very depressing job.
I don't remember the episode exactly the way it happened. I just remember he did hang out with the guy, and I know it was rough a few times, but I think the guy basically said to do what he had to do, he eventually just desensitized himself, which is what you would have to do. But from what I remember, the guy made he made good money, because he did one of those jobs that nobody would ever do.
Yeah, nobody wants to do, and that you have to do really carefully to actually get it. I mean, everybody knows how hard it is. If you cut yourself or whatever, to get blood out of clothing, out of carpet.
No, when he did these, he basically he cut out sections of the carpet. Mm-hmm. He didn't clean the carpet and steam clean it to get the blood out. He basically cut he sliced out that section of the carpet. Or, he did clean walls, I think. I don't think he took drywall out, but he did get that. But, if there was ever carpeting, he took the carpeting out.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That would not be the job for me. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, we forgot introductions. I am Bridal Smith.
Constance Lilyhammer.
And
We're back together again.
This is episode 1. We did our little pilot episode, and I'm really not sure how many people actually listen to the whole thing. Because, Spreaker is... When you go to the website, it tells you how many people listen to your podcast. Now, I don't know if that means that they had to listen to it from beginning to end, or if all they had to do was click on it and listen to, like, the first 5 seconds and then decide that that's not what they meant to do. If that counts too. I don't know. So...
But at least we know some people did listen to it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And I do have a few people that it says it's following me.
Uh-huh.
But I also noticed at the same time that people that are following, they it seems like they just follow anybody. It's like when people have not necessarily Facebook, because Facebook doesn't do it that way, but I think MySpace kind of had something where a lot of people just follow people just to have that number up. So it's and nothing against the people who are following me.
Let's not insult our
I'm not insulting anybody. I'm just saying that I'm not getting my hopes up yet because this is only number 2.
Yeah.
Technically number 1.
Right.
Well, technically number 2, number 1.
Since we had the pilot episode.
Yeah, we did the pilot episode to kind of see how the sound worked out, which...
Right. I was surprised. On the last episode, we heard the dogs panting. We heard the airplane flying overhead.
That was loud, too.
It was loud. We heard the crickets in the background outside because we were sitting outside.
Yeah, which we were going to do for this one, too, because it wasn't late enough yet.
Right, but it was kind of hot outside.
It's too hot outside.
So today we're sitting inside, and fortunately both the dogs are laying
basically
down and
sleeping.
resting. So hopefully it will stay nice and quiet the whole time we're having our podcast here.
The only thing that might happen is if somebody walks by the house with a dog or something, and you might hear some very loud barking, and we're going to try to avoid that completely.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because it's going to sound horrible if you're listening to this on headphones or something.
Yeah. So maybe even since it's recording, if that happens, perhaps we could...
I can edit it out. I can actually
That would be good. That would be good, so we don't harm our poor listeners' ears with 2 giant dogs barking. So
anyways, I just realized in the middle of our conversation about crime scene cleanup crews that we didn't introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
But anyways, Joe Rogan, whose podcast we were talking about, he had David Tell on, and David Tell, who he stopped his show, and I don't remember because this was when I was working at a particular video game retail place.
Okay.
Someone put on his podcast when we closed. So we had a lot of stuff to do after that. So I don't remember what he said about Insomniac, or why it didn't work out, or maybe they canceled it. But he was promoting some show, and I want to say the show is on Showtime.
Okay.
Or HBO. Or Cinemax, one of those cable shows where they can do where you can swear and But Mystery Science Theater, they sit and they make fun of the old horrible.
Oh, I love Mystery Science Theater.
It's great.
It's hilarious.
But his show is that they sit through old 60s/70s porno movies.
What? Shut up.
Now, they said what they do is they have to be really careful because you can hear, they can technically have the sound, but they can show a nude woman because whatever cable company they're using is okay. That's
okay.
It's okay to show
But they can't show the guy?
But they can't show, I don't think they can show the penis. I don't think they can show, sex. But they can show, the woman. But I guess what they were saying is that, they specifically... Because I think it's they're on a couch.
Okay.
And it's they're blue screened into the background. So I never looked it up, and I felt like I should. But say you're looking at the screen. Now in Mystery Science Theater, the bottom of the screen is the rows of the seats in the theater, and then them 3 on the bottom right. With them, it was I think they were in the bottom left or the bottom right, or maybe they changed it depending on what they needed to cover up at the time. But it was him and it's him, and he has I think it's him and somebody else, and they always have a special guest. And they're on a green screen, and then so like as the show's on there, you can actually see them on the couch, like in the bottom right corner or wherever they need to be to cover up what is showing.
Oh my gosh!
And
apparently
they
really
just
funny.
like rip it apart, like obviously. And
Right.
I just remember him like saying things like, who knew there was that much hair on my body?
Okay.
So.
I can see that as being really funny, especially if they're not showing everything.
Well, they're not. That's just it. He's like, they like. I remember him telling like Joe Rogan like that they had to be. Like, the pitch of the show was, like, the executives were like, we love it, but we can't show pornography. And he's like, well, no, we'll be, So, like, it was something that almost didn't happen because it was almost like they didn't believe that they weren't going to be able to do.
Right.
So
That
I guess
they'd be
they're really
able to.
clever. Like, the couch covers, like, things that are happening, or, like, they will edit the movie so that it's a close-up instead of,
Right.
stuff. So...
Wow. Alrighty then. That is, I can see that as being popular among a lot of people. I mean, it's just because it's such a different idea, and it's kind of funny.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, like, I kind of want to look it up now.
Well, hopefully we'll have a chance to do that after the podcast.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
No. So, the name of the episode is Half a Bottle Later.
Yes.
And that is because I worked today, and I came home, and Constance made an amazing dinner. Ribeye steaks, corn on the cob, baked potato, and we decided to open up a bottle of Cooper's Hawk, the Lux Meritage,
Yes.
which is it's like a $40 bottle of wine.
I think so.
Or maybe it's a $30 or $40 bottle
Yeah,
of wine.
it's one of their nicer wines. It's really good. I got it as a gift for my birthday from a friend because they know that I like this particular wine, and it's just really tasty. It's very good. It's really smooth, and Rydolph and I both really enjoy tasting a variety of wines. So we thought,
Well, my tasting goes a little bit further than yours, only because that
right,
I have the privilege of tasting lots of different wines,
yeah,
working in a
wine shop.
wine shop. But we decided to. I think I just thought the title would be good because it would be one of those things where, like, I think the last couple of days, like I said to you, I'm like, we need to do another one. We need to like really do another one.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, we should. And then you're like, well, what should we talk about? I'm like, I don't know. And then the second one, and then I think I said again, I'm like, well, I really want to do one. And then I kind of thought that maybe this would go a lot better if we had a little bit of alcohol in our systems. Because, you drink and you just talk.
Yeah, I think a lot of things in life go a little bit better if you've got a little alcohol in your system. Kind of like a wedding. People don't really dance until they've had a few drinks, and then everybody's out on the dance floor.
I have not been to a wedding since our wedding.
Our wedding? Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Think
you're
about
right.
it. When was the last time we've
You're
been to
right.
a wedding?
Well, because I've been to a couple weddings, but I went by myself because either I think you were working. So I went with it was for my cousin got married, so I went by myself for that wedding. I went with a friend of ours as his date.
Oh yeah.
To that wedding.
The friend that bought you the wine.
That actually was, it was the same person. So I went with him to that wedding just for fun because it was a mutual friend anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been to a couple weddings. Oh, and I went to another wedding that was like a friend of the family. I went with somebody to that wedding as well, with my mom actually, just for fun.
Did you get lucky?
Yeah.
Anyways, my class is in.
That wedding was kind of cool though because both the bride and the groom were very into Star Wars, and so the groom's cake was Darth Vader's head.
I think you told me that.
And it was very cool, and it was a really well done groom's cake where Darth Vader's, the whole head of Darth Vader looked very good in a cake. It looked really good. And they put on top...
You keep
I think
talking.
it was
I can hear you, but I'm going to go get that bottle.
Okay. I think it was Darth Vader and